Why would a farmer, a Vietnam War hero, a laid-back Californian, a neurosurgeon, and a mechanic jump in World War II fighters built 50 years ago to battle at 500 miles per hour? Get ready and strap in. You'll soon be only 50 feet off the scorching desert ground, full of rattlesnakes and rocks, in a wing-to-wing battle for the elusive Reno Unlimited Gold title. There will only be one winner, and with a lot of skill and luck, they'll all be survivors. Today, on a special edition of World of Wings, experience unlimited air racing, the world's fastest and most dangerous motorsport. People, passion, pistons, and power. Today on World of Wings.
Welcome to World of Wings premiere episode. We're at the Reno 2000 National Championship Air Races and Air Show. I am Mitch, Carley, your host, and with the entire World of Wings team, we're going to go deep behind the scenes and get to know the people, the owners and pilots with their burning passion to push these vintage and exotic piston engine aircraft well beyond their limits, creating a power spectacle like no other in the world. But before we do that, let's take a short look at the rich history of air racing.
As soon as there was more than one airplane in the air together, air racing was born. For decades, air racing drew larger and larger crowds, more than any other sport. With the need for materials and people during World War II, the U.S. government stopped air racing. Then after World War II, young daredevil pilots brought air racing back to life. Races were held all over the U.S., but made their way to the Wild West, and since 1964, unlimited air races at Reno have been an annual gathering for the world's fastest men in racing.
The Unlimiteds have been divided into three different classes: bronze for primarily stock aircraft, silver for modified aircraft, and gold. As long as it has a piston and a propeller, speeds are unlimited. And today to talk about that, we've got six-time gold winner, Tiger Destefani. Thanks for joining us.
Good to be with you.
Could you explain what this race is like?
Well, what we have here is really a three-dimensional race. Unlike road racing or auto racing, this is a three-dimensional race, and the speeds here, of course, are very high, reaching up to around 490, 95 miles per hour around this course. And that speed can vary depending on this class, anywhere from 350 on up to close to 500 miles an hour.
World's fastest motorsport?
Without a doubt, this is the world's fastest motorsport, and the speeds that will be achieved out here today, you will be able to see that.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tiger and I will be in contact with Wayne Sager. Wayne?
Thanks, Mitch. I'm here at our World of Wings headquarters, broadcasting on Yahoo Sports, and also with us on the course is David DeVos.
Hi everybody, I'm Dave DeVos, and we're out here today on the Unlimited course, where these pilots are going to be flying right over our heads at about 50 feet, approaching speeds of almost 500 miles an hour. Stay tuned for the best seat in the house. Wayne?
Thanks, David, and we'll even be in the cockpit with all the World of Wings Unlimited pilots like Brent Hisey.
Thank you, Wayne. Brent Hisey here. All looks great out on the course. Back to you.
We'll also be with the other World of Wings pilots, Tiger Destefani and Strega.
Strega, the highly modified 1944 Australian-built P-51 Mustang. Tiger has won the Unlimited Gold 6 times and is back for number 7.
Tom Dwelle and Critical Mass.
Tom is an ex-Air Force Skyraider pilot from the Vietnam War era. Now he's battling close to the ground again on the beautiful and highly modified 1953 Sea Fury Critical Mass.
Skip Holm and Dago Red.
This 500-mile-an-hour jockey has won gold in the past twice and is back with smoking guns. He's looking for gold in the 1944 P-51 Mustang Dago Red.
Matt Jackson and Voodoo.
Matt has been coming to the Reno Air Races since the beginning. He began flying in his teens and began racing at Reno in 1988. Matt will be pushing the throttle forward on the highly modified and slippery Mustang Voodoo.
Brent Hisey and Miss America.
An Oklahoma neurosurgeon that started air racing at the young age of 37. Brent's the owner and pilot of the world-famous red, white, and blue P-51 Mustang Miss America.
We're with another 6-time Unlimited Gold champion and member of the Motorsports Hall of Fame, Lyle Shelton. Lyle, things have changed a lot around the course. You've been here for a number of years. What are the most significant changes?
Well, the airplanes are going faster. We like to see that. The course is safer than it used to be. It's been changed over the years for safety's sake. The stands are bigger, more people come.
Lyle, you've set a number of records in the rear bear, but you've had some problems over the last couple of years. What happened last year?
The reason basically was we're running 4,200 horsepower where the engine was built originally only for 2,500 and 3,000 horsepower. So we're putting a lot of stretch and a lot of heat and a lot of stress on engines that basically were never designed to be run as hard and put out as much horsepower as they do here. So you get breakage if you have the slightest little thing wrong within them.
Lyle, you put on a spectacular show and everything is working good. Are you going to be able to make it back next year?
Our objective is to come back next year with our airplane faster than ever and break our existing speed records, hopefully set speed around the course of 500 miles an hour.
Thank you for joining us. Back to you, Mitch.
Thanks, Wayne. We just heard from Lyle Shelton. Now, you and Lyle battled back and forth, haven't you?
Oh, we've battled back and forth for many times. You know, when that big Bearcat was coming with that giant propeller on there, you could hear it, you could feel the vibrations running through you. However, he never got around us.
Well, unfortunately, nobody's going to get around you this year either, are they?
No, that's right. Early on in the week here, we burned a piston, really not knowing exactly why that happened this early in the event, but when that happened, it threw a side load on the main bearing, and we started to make some main bearing metal, and just discovered that and found that it was just too much to continue with. So the prudent thing to do was to ground the airplane. Really, what it's utmost about out here at Reno is safety.
Well, what a valiant effort. Thank you for your time. We know you've got a lot to do, and we'll be with you later.
Thank you.
Thank you. Imagine being a highly skilled neurosurgeon coming out of a very intense and time-consuming surgery to come here to Reno and within 24 hours be ready to race. Let me introduce someone to you that did just that. Dr. Brent Hisey, owner and pilot of the world-famous P-51 Miss America. Thank you very much for joining us on World of Wings today.
Mitch, welcome to Reno and to Miss
Thank
America.
you. Thank you very much. What's an average day at the hospital look like for you?
I usually get up about 4 every morning. I start seeing my patients, and then we're in the operating room at about 7:30 in the morning, and we'll continue operating to about 5 or 6 that evening. And then we do whatever else we need to do after that.
My goodness, sounds like race day.
It is race day, and it doesn't get any better than Reno 2000.
Brent, let me ask you this. What brings you to Reno?
Mitch, this is our passion. For 2 weeks out of the year, we get to come to Reno. We're around beautiful airplanes and our friends, and I think all of us at Reno like to live on the edge. And there's no place on earth closer to the edge than the unlimited class at Reno.
Brent, is there any way we and the viewers could take a tour in Miss America of the Unlimited course?
I'd love to take you, Mitch. Hop aboard.
Outstanding. Thank you, and we'll be right back.
When we come back, take a tour of the Unlimited course with Dr. Brent Hisey, the first Unlimited Gold race. Stay with us.
Aircrafted teams arrive at Reno to prepare and compete in heat races from Thursday through Saturday, all vying for the pole position in Sunday's finals where prize money is awarded in each class. The course is an 8.25-mile oval marked by 50-foot pylons. Once in the air, the competitors line up wingtip to wingtip on a pace plane, and when properly positioned are told the famous words, "Gentlemen, you have a race." The race begins as the class enters the course at what is called the chute, which is where we're taking a tour and on board with Dr. Brent Hisey.
Morning, Mitch. We've just been released down the chute. Now we're coming around pylon 2. We're looking for turn 3. I'm pulling a few G's around here. This is pretty tight. Now we'll let the plane just relax a bit and look for the guide pylon. As soon as we cross it, now we see it coming up over on our left. We'll start a series of tight turns along the backside of the course. Here we're pulling 3 or 4 G's, and it's a little tougher back here on the side. Now we're looking for pylon 5, and here we have it coming up the left side of the canopy. There we go. Now we'll pull a little tighter, coming up around 6. A little bumpy out here today. As soon as we pass 6, we'll be going into the valley of speed. And there we go. Whoa, there it goes. That was a little bumpy. Yeah, we picked up 6 coming downhill. We'll accelerate. We're taking a little easy today. We're about 420. The top planes will be over 500. Now, here we go. We're looking for 7. Nice easy turn here, setting us up for 8. There we go around 8. We'll let it float out to the dead line and pull it back in around the home pylon, and back to you, Mitch.
Thanks, Brent. Now let's go to Wayne and find out what we're doing on worldofwings.com.
Thanks, Mitch. We're here at the World of Wings media headquarters online with AAFO.com, broadcasting throughout the entire Reno Air Race and Air Show event. We're uploading information to YahooBroadcast.com. The easiest way to find us is at worldofwings.com. From here, we'll be in contact with our crews on the race course, at home pylon, in the pits, and even in the cockpit of some of the fastest air racers in the world. Mitch?
They're cranking up those multi-thousand horsepower engines. It's Gold Race number 1 on Thursday.
Coming down the chute, Dan Martin's jumped out to an early lead with Brent Hisey and Miss America a close second, and a battle between the 2 Sea Furies for 3rd place. Pulling around pylon 8, Dan Martin is flying a great line, low and fast, pulling heavy G's. The checkered flag is up, and Danny Martin takes the win in Ridge Runner with Miss America a close second.
And your winner is Dan Martin in Ridge Runner, followed by Brent Hisey in Miss America, Howard PARDUE in Fury, Hoot Gibson in Riff Raff, John Bagley in Southern Cross, and Stu Eberhardt in Merlin's Magic.
Next, get to know Voodoo's pilot Matt Jackson
You won't find any crazy unlimited racers out there.
and find out what it takes to put these planes in top race condition from the winningest crew chief at Reno.
We want to give our pilot the best product that we can deliver.
That's next on World of Wings.
One of the newer and fastest unlimiteds out here is Voodoo. Let's find out what Matt Jackson's going to do with it.
Oh, I love Voodoo. Voodoo, it's a top contender. It's a highly modified airplane, and it's got great potential. I grew up in Van Nuys, California, and basically started flying at a very young age. Around 10 years old was my first lesson, and soloed on my 16th birthday. Got my license on my 17th. In 1964, my father sponsored a plane called the Cosmic Wind, which was a famous Formula One racer, and he built the engines for it. And as a small child, I was 6 years old, we went to the first Reno National Air Races here in Reno. My first ride was with the Bill Reinschild crew. I flew his airplane called Misfit and ran that at Reno. And then continued from 1988 on. Every year I've flown a different airplane. Being from a military family, my father was in the military, retired after 20 years, and was a Pearl Harbor survivor and highly decorated through the war. And I felt that perpetuating these airplanes for future generations was kind of my job, and they served our country and kept us free. So we're here doing the same thing, in my opinion. I come up here for 2 reasons. I love to race, but my main reason I come up here is to be with my friends. And we're all the same. We're crazy about airplanes, and this is a place to come. We do everything that you can that's within reason to make this safe, to the point where there is also a degree of danger in it. Flying 50 feet off the ground at 500 miles an hour has its own degree of danger, but we try and do it very systematically. We try and follow, we try and be safe about it. You won't find any crazy unlimited racers out there. Everybody kind of has the same mindset. We talk the same talk. I believe we make it safe by how we conduct ourselves, and that's how we try and make it. We try and justify it.
Why do I do this? I guess the main reason is it's an adrenaline rush of untold magnitude. You know, people talk about the highs from drugs, and I tell everybody you don't need drugs in this country. You need to go for an airplane ride.
The Reno Air Races also host a variety of aircraft, from small but very fast home-built planes, biplanes, to World War II trainers, and of course, the Unlimiteds. And in between races, fans enjoy the world's best in air show acts and U.S. military power demonstrations. Great food, entertainment, displays, merchandise for the entire family. Why don't you make plans to come out next year? For more info, visit www.worldofwings.com. Let's check in before today's races begin and look at conditions. David?
Hi everybody, we're out at Pylon 3 right now awaiting the start of the Unlimited Gold Race. As you can see, the race conditions have gotten rather difficult over the last hour or so. The wind's picked up, the temperature's rising, the sun has moved into a position where it's going to be right in the pilot's eyes. Now combine that with the fact that these guys are going over 500 miles an hour, 50 feet off the ground. As you can imagine, these guys got a lot to think about. Wayne?
It takes a lot of people to keep this airplane in top racing condition. We sat down with crew chief Bill Kerchenfaut to get some inside details.
The preparation, it's many, many weeks and weekends of work to try and make every system and component on the airplane work. Almost all of the crew members on this team are aircraft mechanics, certified aircraft mechanics, and work in the aviation field. Typical race day will be, we will fly the airplane in the morning before the field opens, that's before 8 o'clock, to ensure that everything is operating correctly, and then we'll run the race in the afternoon. We'll reservice it for the next day. Hopefully there's nothing broken so bad that we can't fix it overnight, and we'll do that 3 days in a row. It gets pretty hectic, but I mean, we came to win, and that's the sacrifice you have to make. I was in the Air Force for 4 years, worked on F-100s, crew chief, got out of the Air Force, went to A&P school, got my license. But while I was in the Air Force, I was stationed in Edwards, and I met a guy named Daryl Greenemeyer who had a Bearcat. He came out there to Edwards to set a speed record, and I got to be friends with him, and was fortunate enough to begin my air racing career with him. I don't know exactly how many times I've won. I think it's over 10 or 12. This is my, let's see, I've won 5 times in a row. This will be my 6th if we do it this year. We got our fingers crossed for that one. The P-51 was probably the most popular fighter of the Second World War. It's just an airplane that everybody has always identified with. Pilots, even young pilots, relate to this type of an airplane, and this is a pretty high performance airplane, and they get a kick out of it. Skip Holm is probably the finest pilot on this ramp. He's probably the finest pilots in the world. We want to give our pilot the best product that we can deliver. You have to realize the airplane is old, the engine is old, and the parts are old. Even the crew chief.
It's Unlimited Gold Race number 2. And see how family plays a big part in the success of critical mass. Coming up next on World of Wings.
Well, I grew up in Bakersfield, California, and I've lived there most of my life. And my family's been in the farming business there for many, many, many years. And growing up there as a youngster back in the 40s and 50s, all the crop dusting was done with Stearman airplanes, which were World War II trainer airplanes. So I used to really like to watch those things, you know, and kind of get as close to them as I could. And then eventually I bought myself a North American Navion, and I started flying that. But my really true goal was to own a Mustang. So about 1978 or so, I bought my first Mustang, and then came up here at the races in 1980, and wow. At that point, I got hooked on the racing, and I've been racing here ever since. Well, my goal with Strega, ever since I built this airplane, which was back in '83, of course, was to come here and win the National Championship Air Race. That's the only reason I come here, is to win. I'm just that competitive. I've won here at Reno 6 times, I just love the smell of high octane in the morning. My plan was really to race this year and then have my alternate pilot move into the chair. But of course, I'm not going to be racing this year due to the engine problems we're having, so I might have to extend that one more year. Probably the thrill of coming here is not only the racing and the challenge of being able to do the racing, but the camaraderie of all the guys that come here. Most of them have been coming here for quite a few years. It's really a unique thing out here at Reno with all of this World War II equipment that's out here. And the history here is so great, not only the fact that this is 37th annual Reno race, but the equipment that's out here is 50, 55 years old. And so it's a very unique situation that only happens once a year in the entire planet.
Well, I have to go now.
Throttles are coming forward. The RPMs are rising, manifold pressure's rising. These pilots are all zeroed in on the race. All other thoughts are gone. As these unlimited pilots taxi out, they're also performing last-minute checks. Critical mass is having engine trouble on the ramp. Those big Pratt & Whitney radials can be dangerous at startups. Brent Hisey in Miss America seems to also be having trouble during his mag check run-up. Both Critical Mass and Miss America are out of this race.
Controller Steve Hinton has all the competitors lined up on his wing, and he pulls up to start the race. Dropping into the chute, the highly modified Mustangs, Dago Red and Voodoo lead the rest of the field onto the course. Because these planes had a bye yesterday, this is the first time that pilots Skip Holm and Matt Jackson will have a chance to shake out these new Merlin engines. In order to win prize money, these pilots know they have to compete on Sunday. So what we'll see today is more of a tactical race, with pilots sizing each other up, jockeying for position while not showing their full hand. They know there's no sense in sacrificing your engine now before you get to the finals on Sunday. Pulling around pylon 8 at Skip Holm and Dago Red, running on to the checkered flag in victory. Matt Jackson in Voodoo takes a close second, proving to the world that he can stay with Dago Red. Bob Button, Matt Jackson, and the rest of the Voodoo team should be very pleased with their performance today. It puts them in great position for tomorrow in the race for Sunday's pole position.
Wow, what a way to start a race. 2 planes out on the ramp, 1 airplane maydaying out on the chute. Looks like Dago Red's got it well in hand. Let's go down to Mitch with her pilot, Skip Holm.
Congratulations, number 1 and 2. As you know, you had some competition fall out. Was the race as easy as it looked?
Oh, I guess they're always easy when they work the way you want them to. They always look easy. I would have liked to see more airplanes that did fall out in there, because some of the good ones did fall out. This is always Friday, and I don't think people will really push it up on Friday. It is Friday, isn't it? Yeah,
Yes,
it is Friday.
Very good. Thank you. I'm here with Larry Butler, the crew chief for Miss America. Larry, what happened out there?
Well, we taxied out this morning with the Gold Racers, and we got out there, and these 2 little spark plugs failed, and we had to come back in and start all over.
$1 million airplane, and how much did those cost?
They're about $3 each.
$6 kept Miss America out of the race. Back to you.
And your winner is Skip Holm and Dago Red, followed by Matt Jackson in Voodoo, Dan Martin in Ridge Runner. In Maydaying on the chute was Mike Brown in September Fury. Tom Dwelle in Critical Mass did not start. Brent Hisey in Miss America did not start.
Critical Mass is a family operation, and Tom Dwelle, the pilot, told us how this family operates as a team.
And what a way to raise a bunch of kids, you know. Ken, number one son, Ken, flew the F-16 right at the end of the Gulf War. He now flies for United Airlines. He's the crew chief. He's the man that makes this team work, and he's the most dedicated person I've ever known. You watch him this week, you'll see there's no shades of gray with Ken. That's who you want to have running your team, trust me. His younger brother Tommy flies for U.S. Airways, and Jennifer, number two daughter, flies Brazilian regional jet for Chautauqua Airlines. It's a 50-passenger jet. My first race was 82. We watched that through till 86. And I told my Air Force buddy, Charlie Neal, I said, Charlie, I'm not ever coming back here without an airplane to race. So in 87, here we were. We had 3 months to get ready and didn't do very well, but we had a lot of fun. This is World War II with the original cast, you know. And the Mustangs, for example, our war emergency power was 3,000 RPM and 61 inches of manifold pressure, and they're running these guys. Dago, for instance, Dago Red is running at 3,800 RPM and 150 inches of boost. So they almost can't go a gold race at that kind of power. And you know, they're a little bit faster than I am, so that's my tactic. If they squirt out ahead of me, first of all, they don't like to be behind this thing. This thing, they hate that. Because the wing wash and the prop wash is ferocious. But if they get ahead of me, then I'll stay right on them and try to make them blow up their engine. Okay, so then smoke and fire, and then you see them dead stick, and so they love that, of course. And that gets pretty exciting, especially if it's me. It's real easy for me to sit up there and hang on and try not to die, but the rest of them, you know, they deserve the credit, because it's like in the Air Force, you know, it's a very long and very deep pyramid with the pilot at the top, but it takes everybody, and there can't be a weak link in the chain anywhere.
See how things shake out in both the silver and gold races on Saturday, and experience the laid-back style of pilot Skip Holm. And later, there'll be a new national champion here on World of Wings.
I'm here with Bill Kerchenfaut. Bill, could you explain to us the obvious modifications that have been made on Dago Red?
Yes, sir. Well, actually, the first thing that you really see is the canopy is much, much smaller than a stock P-51. The radiator inlet and actually the exit duct also is much different. And the wings are shorter, and that's not as apparent. However, the wingtips are much different, and then the wing is much smoother and slicker than a stock P-51.
We're in the trailer of Dago Red with Jim Foss. Jim, could you teach us about telemetry and real-time data, what that means for Dago Red?
Certainly. Telemetry, of course, means just what the words put together spell out. If you broke them down, it means information across or metering across, and we're doing it via radio. A transmitter of the telemetry is in the airplane. What we're looking at is the telemetry screen, and here are some of the items that we're able to monitor. Manifold pressure, we have RPM, here's our knots indicated airspeed. Down here on the left, oil temperature, coolant temperature, and induction temperature, very important to us.
Jim, I understand some of the aircraft out here have nitrous oxide. Do you have it on this year?
Nope, but I'll tell you one thing, we can blow up that Merlin to pieces without it.
Well, there you have it, the high-tech world pushing these old aircraft to 500 miles an hour. Back to you.
Earlier this week, we caught up with Dago Red pilot Skip Holm.
Yeah, I was born in North Dakota, grew up in North Dakota, didn't see an airplane except at 40,000 feet until I was about 18 years old, you know, close up. And we had a neighbor that lived about 4 or 5 miles away. That was a close neighbor, right, because there's nobody up there. That had an airplane, he'd take off and it would spin down and disappear behind the hills, and he'd spin down again and disappear. And when I'd sit and wonder whether the guy crashed or whether he lived or whether he didn't, I thought it was always, you know, it'd be so much fun to go out and do that. Actually, one of the first rides I had was in a T-33 in the middle of winter. We took off out of Fargo and went up and landed at Grand Forks, and there was snow everywhere and it was icy runway. And the minute the airplane touched down, I remember that we touched down and it starts going sideways, and he was getting real excited about that time, and I kept thinking, God, I want to see what happens when this puppy goes off the runway. See how much snow it'll plow before it comes to a stop. And Anyway, he got it straightened out, and we came back again, and he kept apologizing and saying how horrible of a flight that was, and I kept thinking, golly, this is what I want to do. You know, I like that sliding sideways part. I went through pilot training, and I got a 105. I went to Vietnam and flew 100 missions there, and then I got a B-52 as an assignment, and I didn't want to take it, and the only way out of it was to volunteer for another 100 missions, which I did, and then got an F-4 to Korea, and I went back to Vietnam again, so we got a lot of fighter time over there. I've been usually the guy they call, 2 weeks before Reno, and if they have an airplane they want to fly. Actually, Dago was the first airplane I've ever gotten 9 months before the race. I guess the rush you get from flying an airplane on a racer, especially a fast one, it's as close to combat as you can get and still do it legally.
As we sit right now, the airplane's ready to race. It's ready to go out and run full tilt and finish this thing and hopefully win it.
It's Saturday's silver race, and the winner goes to gold. Wayne, what are you thinking?
Well, Mitch, yesterday Tom Dwelle had problems. He's back up to strength today. He's going to be hard to beat. You've got a lot of fast airplanes in that class. Risky Business, Miss America. It's going to be a free-for-all.
Into the chute, and it's Risky Business, followed by Critical Mass and Miss America. Down the backstretch now, and Bill Rhineschild in Risky Business still leads Tom Dwelle flying Critical Mass. Tom's biggest challenge today is dancing the fine line between peak performance and total destruction. Tom's got to think strategically here because he knows he can't get around Bill Rhineschild without using all of his ADI. ADI stands for anti-detonation injection, a mixture of alcohol and water that allows Tom to run that big radial engine at top speeds without melting. Close race as they come off the Valley of Speed around Pylon 8 into the home stretch. It looks like Tom Dwelle's strategy is paying off as he takes the high line and the lead. Dropping back down onto the course, Tom Dwelle has taken the lead from Bill Rhineschild, but really be able to maintain it. On the backstretch now, Tom has opened up a lead on Bill. Critical Mass is running strong, but that engine's got to be heating up. Around Pylon 8, and Tom's strategy has worked perfectly as he's heading for the checkered flag and that coveted spot in the gold race tomorrow.
It's a good ride. It's pretty bumpy out there, but the bird's running good. We need one more jet up for the ADI, one larger jet, but I had good control over it with my secret Tweedle valve that David Cornell built for me, and I tell you, we're a happy camper.
Outstanding. It sure is great to see this aircraft run the way it is.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
I see our fire truck is here. It's been a long time, guys. Let's go ride the fire truck.
All righty. Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much. See you guys later.
And your winner is Tom Dwelle in Critical Mass, followed by Bill Rhineschild in Risky Business, Brent Hisey in Miss America, Randy Bailey in September Pops, Nelson Ezell in Sea Fury, Art Vance in Furias, Dennis Sanders in Argonaut, and Jimmy Leeward in Cloud Dancer.
It's Saturday's gold race, and the stakes are high. Not only did the competitors have to finish today, but their placement at the checkered flag will determine their starting position for tomorrow's all-important gold race.
Matt Jackson is challenging Dago Red.
Matt Jackson has been very careful with the power settings on Voodoo in the heat races up till now, but today we might see him push it to try to overtake Dago Red for tomorrow's pole position. Down the Valley of Speed, the two highly modified Mustangs, Dago Red and Voodoo, are flying wingtip to wingtip. Around Pylon 7 into the Valley of Speed, and Dago Red and Voodoo are right together. And he's done it. Matt Jackson passes on the outside, leaving Dago Red looking at his tail as he pulls down the home stretch.
Look at that, going wide.
Off the backstretch into the Valley of Speed for the last time, and Skip Holm flying Dago Red as this race firmly in hand. But Matt Jackson flying second has proved today that he and the rest of the Voodoo team have every chance of victory in tomorrow's gold race.
The race, it's like other races, you want to win. It's, what is it, 8 airplanes out of today? Yeah. And this is kind of a heat race before we get into tomorrow's race, and tomorrow's race is the big race. So the position you end up in today is the position you start in tomorrow.
And your winner is Skip Holm and Dago Red, followed by Matt Jackson in Voodoo, Dan Martin in Ridge Runner, Stu EBERHARDT in Merlin's Magic, Howard PARDUE in Fury, John Bagley in Southern Cross, and Stuart Dawson in Spirit of Texas.
Tiger, Dago's looking really strong. Can he be beaten?
Well, that remains to be seen. What we saw here today was the Voodoo staying with the Dago and actually getting ahead of them. However, the speeds were only in the 450 range. Tomorrow, what you're going to see is really everything let out. I just really don't know if the Voodoo airplane can stay with that Dago Red, but we're going to find out.
It's the final day of racing. See who will take the checkered flags in the silver and the gold unlimited races here on World of Wings.
Steve Hinton has the competitors on his wing. He pulls up, calling, "Gentlemen, you have a race." With Critical Mass having won the silver race on Saturday, the favorites today are Risky Business and Miss America. And it's Risky Business out front, followed closely by Brent Hisey in Miss America and Randy Bailey in third in September Pops. Today is payday and everybody's running full throttle. Risky Business is pulling away from the field down the backstretch. Out of the Valley of Speed around Pylon 8, and Risky Business maintains the lead. Pulling heavy G's right behind is Brent Hisey and Miss America. Back out onto the course now as Bill Ryan's maintains his lead. Close behind, Brent Hisey pushes Miss America, trying to close the gap. Randy Bailey is in third, followed by the rest of the field. 4 Hawker Sea Furies and a wonderfully polished P-51 Mustang, number 9 Cloud Dancer, flown by Jimmy Leeward. Season Unlimited veteran Bill Ryan's pulls around Pylon 8 down the home stretch and takes the checkered flag, moving up to the last unlimited position in the gold race today.
Describe the race. Brent, was he pressuring you?
Oh, all the time. I mean, he was right there on the start. He was doing a great job of keeping me
absolutely concerned and nervous. I had to turn the RPMs up another 100 RPM, 110 inches down the chute. It was really exciting. It was great flying with them.
You going to gold?
Yes, we are.
Congratulations. It's a great birthday gift, isn't it?
That's it. Thank you.
All righty. Brent?
Hi, Mitch.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks. That was a great day up there. We gave it everything we had, but Risky was a faster airplane. But Miss A ran beautifully. The crew did a great job with her, and we just got beat. But like I said, we had a great flight, great day, and doesn't get any better than this.
Well, Bill told us he's moving on to gold, so you've won silver. Congratulations. And Bill mentioned he had never had tougher competition than what you just gave him.
Well, that's an honor coming from Bill Ryan's child.
So congratulations.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you.
Bill Reinschild in Risky Business moves up to gold. Brent Hisey in Miss America wins silver, followed by Randy Bailey in September Pops. Nelson Azell in Sea Fury. Art Vance in Furias. Dennis Sanders in Argonaut. Jimmy Leeward in Cloud Dancer. And Gary Hubler in Bad Attitude.
This is it, Sunday, the gold race. If there were any games before, they're all over now because it's payday. Tiger, you've been there many times. What are your thoughts?
Well, you're right. Today is the payday. And talking with Bob Button, the owner of the Voodoo airplane, earlier today, he says they're letting all the stops out. I think they have a few little more hidden secrets in there. But, of course, we don't really know what the Dago really has. They've got some hidden secrets also. So I think it's going to be a very exciting race.
Thanks, Tiger. Wayne, your thoughts?
Well, Mitch, it's always a chess game here. You never really know what anybody's got left. Critical mass. We don't know if Tom's showing everything he's had. And like Tiger said, the other teams might not be showing all they've got yet.
They're ready to race, and let's watch.
Throttles up, RPMs rising, and Steve Hinton pulls up with the famous words, "Gentlemen, you have a race." And into the chute, it's Voodoo way out in front early. He jumped the start on that one. That's gonna mean a penalty. Toward the first pylon now, and Dago Red is pouring on the power, taking the lead back from Voodoo as they head onto the backside of the course. Pulling around pylon 7 into the Valley of Speed, it's Dago Red, Voodoo, and Critical Mass moving up quickly. Pulling around pylon 8 into the home stretch, Dago Red is opening up his lead on Voodoo, but Critical Mass is closing fast. We may have quite a race. Past the grandstands and the home pylon, it's 1, 2, and 3, Dago Red, Voodoo, and Ridge Runner. Tom Dwelle has spent the entire race moving up through the pack in Critical Mass. He's still moving up in the leaders. Will he have the time to catch him? To the backside of the course now, Dago Red maintains his lead over Voodoo, but Voodoo is closing the gap again. Back out onto the course now, and Tom Dwelle is gaining quickly on Voodoo and Dago Red. Both crews on their feet now as Dago Red and Voodoo come by the home pylon. Into the Valley of Speed the last time, and Skip Holm is hugging the ground. The checkered flag is up, and taking the win is your new national champion, Skip Holm and Dago Red. Matt Jackson in Voodoo has been penalized for jumping the start, giving the official second place win to Tom Dwelle in Critical Mass.
Well, it's pretty rough out there, and but I wasn't pushing it. A couple times I put power on. One time in the first lap to see if it would take it, and then on the 7th and 8th lap I put a little more power on.
Well, it ran great. Dago's just really fast, and we bumped the speed up a little bit, I think, and I just wish we had more poop on it.
Didn't get a very good start. Came down the hill and got it perked up really well, and couldn't fly my line for about the first 2 laps. But then I settled down, and once I got a half a lap ahead of everybody, then I just kind of backed off to save the engine. Hopefully we'll have something to fly home tomorrow.
Tiger, they've done it again. Can this airplane be beaten?
Well, of course they can. You know, the Straga's got a broken engine, so we're not out here. The Bearcat doesn't have an engine. Wait till next year when both those airplanes are back.
And your winner is Skip Holm in Dago Red, followed by Tom Dwelle in Critical Mass, Bill Reinschchild in Risky Business, Howard Pardue in Fury. Matt Jackson was penalized to 5th place in Voodoo. Stuart Dawson in Spirit of Texas. John Bagley in Southern Cross. Stu Eberhardt in Merlin's Magic did not finish. And Dan Martin in Ridge Runner did not finish.
When we come back, find out what's on the next World of Wings. On the next World of Wings, pull bone-crunching G's with the Blue Angels and their F-18s. Talk with legendary air racer and pilot Lefty Gardner, and find out the secrets behind Sean Tucker, his air show act, and his plane. That's all next time on World of Wings.
Congratulations to Terry Bland, Skip Holm, Bill Kerchenfaut, and the entire Dago Red racing team for winning the 2000 Reno Unlimited Gold Championship.
It's been a great year at Reno, Tiger. Can't wait to see you back.
I can tell you this, I'll be back.
From the entire World of Wings team, goodbye from Reno.
This is really the bad guy of air racing. And everybody knows that except Skip. Skip doesn't know that, so that makes him the man.
I'm just a little guy with a screwdriver in my pocket, you know.
Whenever you talk to an air race pilot, you should always ask them what they want to be when they grow up.
Right.
And then watch how long they hesitate before they answer.
You want to be an air race pilot.
Yeah.
That's to make sure the wings don't fold up on takeoff.